So another example of entropy is the distribution of hydrogen ions. In this case, at the beginning, one side intracellularly, inside of the cell, you have a lot of hydrogen ion. Outside of the cell, extracellularly, you do not have a hydrogen ion. So the hydrogen ion will have a tendency to go from inside of the cell to the outside of the cell. But as you remember, cell membrane is a phospholipid bilayer. So the charged hydrogen ion cannot go through the phospholipid bilayer because the hydrophobic tails inside here will repel the charged ion. And it requires a channel protein. And then the hydrogen ion, because they are high concentration inside the cell, you will have a tendency to go through this channel protein to go outside of the cell, so that the concentration inside and outside of the cell will be the same. And in here, you said that it is more organized, you have more potential energy, but less stable because they want to go out. In here, it is less organized because you have hydrogen ion everywhere. You have less potential energy because the concentration gradient right now is about the same equilibrium. It has reached equilibrium. Then it becomes more stable. So this is what I told you, the college student dorm room. This is easier to maintain because it requires less potential energy to maintain this. Do you require more energy to maintain your dorm room to be more organized and stable? Metabolism. Metabolism is the sum of all the chemical reactions that occur in the cell. Chemical reaction can be of many different types, but we can generally divide the chemical reaction into two types, catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism is breaking down of the molecule, anabolism is building molecules. How do we memorize that? Catabolism, according to Professor Fink, is that a cat breaks down everything. So cat will destroy everything, therefore catabolism, break down molecule. Once you memorize catabolism is break down molecule, then you know that anabolism. By default, it is building of molecules. It is important because we will keep talking about catabolism and anabolism in the class. Remember previously we talked about the macrobiological molecule or macromolecule, the organic chemistry lecture. We talked about dehydration and hydrolysis. Dehydration is actually an anabolism. It builds up the molecule. Hydrolysis is the example of catabolism. It breaks down molecule. In here, you have the generic reaction. Reactant A and reactant B together, you will produce product C and product D. But usually it is not that simple. Usually in a biological system, it is a cascade of reaction. That means after it becomes C and D, then C and D together, it will become E and F. Then E and F will become G and H. So in other words, the product of a reaction can become the reactant of a different reaction. Free energy, delta G. Free energy is the amount of energy available. So it said that it's a reaction calculated by subtracting the free energy of the reactant from that of the product. That means the energy of product minus energy of the reactant becomes the free energy. So energy of a product minus energy of a reactant becomes a free energy. So we have three possible results. it can be equal to 0, it can be larger than 0, it can be less than 0. It will tell you whether or not the energy released heat or absorbed heat. Exergonic reaction. Exergonic reaction is when the free energy is negative, less than 0, meaning that the reactant has more energy than the product. When reactant has more energy than the product, then you get the negative delta G. It will be exergonic, meaning that it will release energy. So if you have a test tube that has an exergonic reaction, then the test tube will feel warm. On the other hand, endergonic reaction, delta G is positive. That means the product has more energy than the reactant. When the product has more energy than the reactant, then what happens is that if you have a test tube that has an exergonic reaction, when you touch the test tube, the endergonic reaction will feel like the test tube feels cold. The test tube will feel cold because endergonic reaction is it will absorb more heat from the surrounding. Require input of energy. It requires input of energy because it absorbs heat from the surrounding. That's why it feels cold. ATP is the term that you need to memorize the entire term. Adenosine triphosphate. You must know this term. You must know how to spell this. Adenosine triphosphate. It is the energy to use by the cell. ATP generated from ADP. You also need to know this term. Adenosine diphosphate. And plus organic phosphate molecule. What it means is this. So ATP can become ADP plus an inorganic phosphate, or the reaction can be reversible to restore it back to the ATP. So where does ATP come from? ATP comes from glucose. We eat food so that we can gain glucose from the food, and then we break down glucose to make ATP. That's the whole purpose of cellular respiration. So we can see that here is like what I drew on the board. You have ATP. This is the structure of ATP. You have learned this in the previous lecture, ATP. You have 3 phosphate group, 1 pentose sugar, and then 1 adenosine molecule. So it looks like it's one form of nucleotide. When it loses 1 phosphate group, it becomes the inorganic phosphate, then it becomes the ADP. Losing of the phosphate group is an example of exergonic reaction, meaning that it breaks down the bond. We break down the bond, we break the covalent bond releases energy. That's why it feels hot. It is a hydrolysis. On the other hand, restoring ATP from ADP is an endergonic reaction. It is a dehydration process. You need to form a bond. That's why you need to supply energy. Then it makes the reaction cold. So this is an endergonic reaction. Structure of ATP, we already talked about this in the previous lecture. It's like a review, so I'll go through it quickly. It has adenine, nitrogen-containing base or nitrogenous base, ribose, or we call it pentose, a 5-carbon sugar, and a 3 phosphate group. And the energy is stored in the chemical bond, which is the covalent bond. They use covalent bond to join the 3 phosphate group together. Okay.